future of education is definitely dependent on technology. The present scenario of this pandemic has led all the educationists to think out of the box in order to ensure that learning never stops. This indeed led to virtual teaching, a new approach, a new way for teachers and students to stay connected. As easy as it may sound, the reality is different with a lot of challenges. So today we have with us two incredible personalities shedding light on the same and also giving us inputs about education during pandemic and post-pandemic. So ladies and gentlemen, first let me introduce you all to our guest, who is a renowned educationist with a postgraduate degree in sociology. She has been constantly working for almost 5 decades to provide quality education and create equal opportunities for everyone to learn. She is the principal of Activity High School and the Secretary-cum-Treasurer of I.C.S.E. Schools of Maharashtra, an enthusiastic proponent of sports and extracurricular activities who firmly believes that sharing knowledge is the way to enlightenment. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Perin Bagli. Come on, everybody, let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you.
Perin ma'am, welcome to Singhani Education Services Limited. We're really glad to have you here on board with us.
Thank you. My pleasure to be with you all.
Great. So now let me introduce you all to yet another personality. He is the COO of Singhani Education Services Limited. He always has his thinking cap on, always thinks on the go, and makes sure that we innovate and bring something new to the table every time. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Brajesh Karia, everybody. Come on, let's give him a round of applause.
Welcome
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you
Welcome you,
Thank
sir.
you so much, Glavina, for that wonderful introduction. And believe me, it's my absolute pleasure to interview Perin ma'am today. She's someone that we have always looked up to. Very inspirational. The kind of work that she does is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much for taking out time and meeting us, ma'am. We are really grateful to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. So my dear friends, as Glavina, my colleague, was mentioning, that technology has really changed things. In fact, last 15 months have been very interesting, difficult, challenging, and motivating, to say the least. Right. 15 months back, an announcement was made that from tomorrow onwards, schools are going to be closed. Nobody can come to the school, and overnight teachers transformed themselves into rock stars. They started facing the camera, they learned different softwares, different applications, Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, whatnot. Many of them have gone to become YouTubers in their own rights, right? This wouldn't have been possible without the inspirational leadership that has been shown by principals across the country. So first and foremost, I would like to take a hat tip to all the school principals. Right. So Perin ma'am, thank you so much for joining us. I would like to ask you, ma'am, you have a vast experience in the education space, right? It's been more than 5 decades. So what have been your key takeaways, and can you please share your thoughts on how education has evolved in India in the last 5 decades, ma'am?
What we had education in the earlier years is totally transformed in the modern stage, because earlier children were also not that active, I would say.
Right.
They were interested in knowledge, gaining knowledge, etc. But I would say the present generation is far more active, very enthusiastic, all right, and I would say very interactive. They are not taking things for granted. They are questioning teachers. And my always mantra to the teacher is, if you do not know your subject matter, please do not enter the classroom.
Right.
Because it's very, very difficult to face kids. If you tell them something wrong, that is bad. It's better you confess that you look up the subject matter if you are not sure of the facts. And with technology coming in the picture, my God, children are so tech savvy that today sometimes it is beyond our control to check them also.
Right.
Especially when they are on their virtual classroom. It's very, very difficult because they don't put on the videos. We don't know where they are, what they are doing, putting off, those emojis and those pictures, etc. So the teachers also, it's finding very, very challenging today, believe me or not. And they are now on their toes. It's an eye-opener even for parents, because when they are watching the virtual classes, they know exactly the caliber of the teacher.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was very, very well pointed out. Thank you so much for sharing those views, ma'am. So as ma'am has put out a very nice message to all the teachers, dear teachers, until and unless you're sure about your subject matter, do not enter the classroom. A. B. Do not give out wrong information if you're not sure about it. Be very candid and say, I'll look up and I'll come back to you. There's no harm in saying that you don't know stuff, right? Thank you so much for that lovely message, ma'am. Ma'am, interestingly, you spoke about technology in the end, and I'm sure technology has had a massive impact, especially today's children are digital natives. So the teachers will have to be digital migrants now, right? So basically,
Yes.
technology has had a huge impact, I'm sure. There are pros and cons both. But at Singhani Questbus, we like to look at the positive side of things. So in a positive way, ma'am, how has technology impacted education? Can you just share some light on what are the kind of good things that have come out in the last 15 months because of technology, ma'am?
Okay. See, I'll tell you, technology, first of all, is a powerful tool to transform education. All right? And
Right.
now it is easier for teachers to create new material, to learn together. Children are sitting together. They are making lovely PowerPoints. They are using different softwares, jam boards and all kinds of things. Not only that, but they've undergone detailed training in Google
Right.
Meet, Zoom, and so many other platforms. So they are really, today teachers are blessing us that, ma'am, in a way, this pandemic has been an eye-opener for us as far as technology goes, because otherwise we would not have bothered to study.
Right.
But because of the compulsion and there is no other way to expose their knowledge, they are coming forward with these kind of things. And you'll be surprised that even in a general teaching classroom, teachers come out with all kinds of PowerPoint presentation, pictures from YouTube and Google, and so much of research they are doing daily. So we are really very glad that children are also enjoying their studies. They are not getting bored because, as you said, through pictures and through audio visuals, the teaching has become more interesting.
Wow.
Instead of just chalk talk method as we used to use earlier in the classroom, with all these, and smart boards and all, they are really gaining. Even a small poem can be just displayed on little nursery rhyme on a smart board. You can see children really enjoying that period, and they look
Absolutely.
forward to these kind of activities.
Fantastic. So teachers, another wonderful lesson by Perin ma'am here, that today's children are visual learners, right? So
Yes.
the more visual aids that you use, it will help them in understanding concepts better and implementing them better, of course. Thank you very much, ma'am. That is a wonderful lesson. And I'm sure, ma'am, now with the schools opening up again, whenever this is over, students will be different emotionally, physically, everything. So I think
Yes.
teachers have to take care of these things, use technology to the maximum so that the transformation is very seamless, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. It will have to be very gradual transformation, because
Precisely.
sudden change, you see that children are very emotionally affected. So
Right.
in fact, I know of students just frankly saying, we don't want to go to school now.
Right.
They are so used to this methodology in virtual classroom. They don't want to go to the teaching, regular classroom situation. There are
Right.
students who openly told us, we prefer this. So anyway, teachers will have to be very, very careful, talk to them gently, not be very harsh, not to scold them so much as they do they used to do earlier in their classrooms. And I suppose the change will come gradually, because automatically children will also say, okay, we have to get back to our normal situation.
Perfect. Fantastic. Thank you so much, ma'am. You spoke about the teachers towards the end. So what changes will the teachers have to undergo now? Because they are now coming to a new world in terms of technology-based education, in terms of transformed student behavior, in terms of different parent expectations now. What is your advice to the teachers out there?
As I told you, teachers have to gear up now, all right? Be more careful, more hardworking, all right? And as I said, they should be more student-friendly, know their subject matter well, prepare their lessons, and come to the classroom.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So dear teachers, believe me, you're hearing from the expert. She's been there for 5 decades, been there, seen that, and this is the kind of advice that you're not going to get anywhere. Be geared up. There are a lot of challenges lying in front of you, but like you've been doing for the past 15 months, this is the time for all of us to come together, train ourselves, and make sure that the students are getting the best education despite all the challenges.
And one more I would like that teachers should be lovingly firm.
Wow.
Discipline is important in life. in classroom also, because you don't give in to the students' whims and fancies. The
Right.
students are testing the teachers, all right? And if you give in that easily, the student will play with the teacher.
Absolutely.
So I think so teachers should be lovingly firm. They should be firm, but at the same time, don't go on the parents or scolding them or passing nasty remarks, sarcastic remarks, which children do not accept it today. They
Right.
don't like it. It's better to be frank and tell them, just target them what their faults are, and that be done with it.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So teachers, another message from Perin ma'am, be firm about your goal, but flexible about your methods, right? So to be lovingly firm is a fantastic term that I'm going to start using from today. Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a fantastic learning. Right. Next question, ma'am. Online teaching has been going on for 15 months now, right? What are your views on online teaching? Once the schools open up, do you see a hybrid or a blended model coming in, or do you see we going back to normal? What are your views on this particular scenario, ma'am?
See, as I told you, online teaching at the moment is going on well. But
Right.
coming back to the regular classroom, I suppose it will take some time for children to see. The older children will not take time, but the
Right.
little ones, they will take time, especially the primary students, because
Right.
it will be a sudden jump for them, to almost 15 months away from school, not seeing their friends around, not seeing
Right.
the environment of the school. Some may be excited to come, some may not like to come. So we will have to tackle different kinds of students in a different way, I would say.
Wow. Fantastic. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, one more thing, a lot of parents are now very apprehensive about students, about education. They are seeing a different type of education. Any message that you would love to give to the parents, because they are an important stakeholders which are usually missed out, We talk about teachers, we talk about students. Any message that you'd like to give to the parents in these difficult times?
I would first tell them that education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself.
Wow, beautiful.
As
Beautiful.
John Dewey had said it. And then second one is that teaching is one profession that creates all other professions. In fact, if you want to be an engineer, a doctor, and so on, eventually you have to go through the process of teaching.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering our questions. It was indeed such a pleasure to interact with you. And this was wonderful learning for all the teachers out there, parents out there, and definitely the students. Short, quick, and brief, and to the point as usual by Perin ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was such a pleasure having you here. And we look forward to meeting you in person once things open up. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.